Okie dokie. MX5 at this lovely little French track. Okay, so I'm starting the replay back here, which is so 2 corners before the start of the lap, because it's really where the start of the lap is speed-wise. So we've just come out of this turn and we are facing the gap in the hills, and we put our foot down, and this is where we have to build the speed for the lap. Okay, so I'm just going to take it through little bit by little bit to start with, and then we'll do a full lap replay. Okay, so we come out to the edge here without going over the curbs, because it does disturb the car and you can invalidate your lap by going outside here. So there we go. Right, now here you'll see I've just done a little lift, in fact a big lift. Probably didn't need to do a full lift, but just to get the car to rotate to this apex. Run it all the way out to this curb, and we run along this curb and turn in. You've got to not turn in too early, because if you touch that inside curb again, it disturbs the car, pushes it out wide. There we go, run out to the curb and over the line, and we're doing 160. Okay, so now we're just trying to make the track as short as possible here. Right, now coming in here, you see this curb on the left. We're going to use that for our braking point and our turn-in point, because there's no brake markers here, so it's a bit tricky trying to get your braking right. So I'm looking at the comparison between that curb and that curb when I pick my braking point. So I'm past that curb, and just as I can see for me, I can just start to see the blue separating from the white here, and that's my braking point. So yeah, if you can find some other markers for your view, depending on your field of view, etc., that will help. Then we brake hard, shift down the gears, but we don't turn in early. We've got to stay out here until we can we can see. In fact, I've turned in a little bit too early here. I'd want to be closer to the end of this curve before I turned in. But the idea is to get it into the apex and facing up the hill. So we're at the apex and we're just starting to face up the hill, and I should be able to get my foot back on the throttle, there we go, and then take it out to this curve. And then just full beans all the way through here. And here let's just go back a touch. As I come through here, so I'm just touching this curb, don't need to go near the curb on the right. And then I see this corner marker, and I can just start to see the blue curb on the outside, so we're heading for that. And then as soon as I'm there, I'm turning back in again. Still full beans all the way down here. You can use all the track, but you don't really need to. What I'm looking at here is getting over to this curb here. And as soon as I'm there, I'm looking to this curve and the pylon behind, and you'll see I lift. There you go, I lift here when I got the curb and the pylon lined up, because it's very easy to overdo this section. I mean, you can see a lot of people stay out wide and brake and turn in. I like to try and coast it through. So anyway, that's me. So then I'm doing a little bit of a drift here, to cross this curb and bring the car under control, dab on the throttle, off the throttle again, because I'm trying to get a nice line through here, and I'm going to ride this curb. It's a bit dangerous, but so get it turned in with a dab on the brake and a dab on the throttle. Then I'm on the throttle, half throttle over here, and I want to be on the throttle over that curb as well. A little bit of a lift, but yeah. Then I'm running out to the end of this curb. Before I get there, I'm turning in just to cross this curb, and you will just start to see, if I go a bit further, that curb. That's what I'm aiming for here. Then before I get halfway across the track, I could be a lot wider, but I'm not. I'm already rotating for here. I've just gone on the brake and I'm off the brake again, and on the throttle as I touch the apex, and then I'm running out to this outside curb here. Full beans, drive it on up the hill. So that section wasn't as quick as it could be, but that's how it was. Then up the hill, full beans, touch that apex, and I'm heading out to this curb, but I want to get to the, or near the apex of that curb. So there we go, mid curb, rotate back in, then I'm running out to this curb, but I've obviously started drifting early here, so I've kept it in the middle of the track. Now when we come over this rise, we've got to hug the inside curb. There we go. So just lifted, I didn't have to brake really, lifted, stay on the throttle, but I'm trying to stick to this curb. I can't let it run out wide early because of this mix sequence down here. So I stay close to this curb until I can pretty much see the end of it, and then I can see that that corner is open enough for me to go for it. Again, just touch the curb, head out to the outside, run along that curb, and then here, just as this curb starts, I want to start rotating, lift off, just a tiny dab on the brakes, and then I'm trying to straight line it for here. And then this is the tricky bit, to get back on the throttle early enough to make the start finish straight work. So we lift off, dab on the brakes, try and roll it through, touch on the throttle, and there we go. I'm just starting to see the gap in the hills open up, and I'm back on the throttle, stay out wide, lift, run the curb, come back, don't touch that curb, run out, and there we go. So let's just go back and watch that. I'll start here without me making any comments, and you just see the flow, and you can see the mistakes I make as well. Yeah, so turned in too early, so made that corner a little bit too tight. Anyway, there you go. So you can see the mistakes I made where I didn't make the corners wide enough. So there's still more time on the table. Anyway, hope that helps.